Welcome to Leave It to Geezer. I'm your host, Danny Murphy, and I'm here today talking again with my good friend, Dick Erickson, the author of the book, Profit Sharing in the Real World. Dick, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Danny. It's a favorite subject of mine, and I do lay awake at night sometimes thinking about some of my past mistakes and some of the good fortune that came from trying to understand this subject. Yes.
So today, Dick, we're going to talk about profit sharing in a little different way. We're going to connect clean bathrooms and toilets to profits and profit sharing. Does that seem possible to you?
Well, I didn't. It would have gone right past me until I experienced it. And I experienced it in numerous ways when I actually started earlier in the Marine Corps. Was my first experience of the importance of clean restrooms. And there it wasn't a voting deal. It was the way the rule was, and went to the point of you didn't get it right, we'd get you a toothbrush and you can start cleaning the bathroom with a toothbrush.
So your love affair with clean bathrooms and clean toilets started in the Marine Corps.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Because as an officer, you had a few little side jobs you had to do, and one of those was inspecting the enlisted barracks.
That's right. And the downside of it, I was back from Vietnam when I was asked to do the job or told to do the job. And so actually it was more of an ask because it was Saturdays. They'd go out on Saturdays. And before the troops got released on Saturday mornings, they had to make sure everything was cleaned up in the barracks.
So before the enlisted Marines could go out and have their playtime on Saturdays, they had to clean the place up.
Right. And of course, the one that was, they had to get their beds fixed and made up. But the toughie was the bathrooms. The bathrooms had to be ship-shape, and that meant you walked in there and no one would have had a problem with the way those bathrooms looked when you're finished. It was absolutely clean. No rings in the toilet. Everything was cleaned up and ready to go.
So that's where you developed your eye for clean bathroom and toilets.
Yes, and I like the way you use the word eyes because, but it really, circling back, the first time I ever heard someone talk about clean bathrooms was an aunt that lived in Bakersfield, California, on her trip back to North Dakota to see the family, which we all grew up in North Dakota. And my family, both my parents grew up there. But the point is, she had brought up the comment about some of the disappointments she had, and she was quite vocal about it and kind of angry about some of the dirty bathrooms that she experienced coming back to North Dakota when they'd stop for gas. And I thought, this kind of strange to be talking about that. But what it did is it resonated to me. It made an impression that was important. And I just assumed we had to feel clean bathrooms in my home, and my school seemed to have clean bathrooms. But my aunt brought that up. So then when I went through the Marine Corps and saw what a real clean bathroom was all about and what it was supposed to be, I had re-emphasized what my aunt had explained in detail one time. So that from that point on, and then when I got into the tire business, I realized that most of the people who showed up were the men of the house. But I realized talking to people, it meant a lot to some people who would have a problem getting a car to the tire store because they had a daytime job and their wife might have a little different break, or actually she was a stay-at-home mother. If she could take the car there, and I started thinking, what makes it desirable for her to come down there? And that's a hard thing to make it desirable, but at least then it wasn't a negative to take your car to the tire store. Well, what rang a bell, I'm thinking, oh yeah, what did my aunt say about going to a service station? Similar issue here. And so it was heavy on my mind of what this should be. My first year in the tire business, Actually, it was a summer job before I finished. I went back and got my degree and then went into the tire business. I was working in Pensacola, Florida for the summer, and the tire store that I was getting trained in had terrible looking bathrooms. And now I'm out of the Marine Corps, got my honest thought in my mind, and I walked in and I thought, there is not a woman that I know that would feel comfortable in this bathroom. So I got the stuff needed to clean the bathroom up, and one was get rid of that ring in the toilet. That's was really a big deal for the Marine Corps and stuff. You don't have rings in the toilet, that's a sign that you're keeping up with things. And so I was on my hands and knees cleaning that toilet bowl, and one of the senior partners in the tire business came by and saw me working in that toilet because you could walk by it and the door is partly open. So, what are you doing, Dick? And I said, I'm cleaning this bathroom up. And I didn't want to make him feel bad because he was the owner and I was just here for the summer, but this was not acceptable. So I was cleaning it up. And from that point on, that was a big issue to me, cleaning the bathrooms.
So, cleaning the bathrooms, and you mentioned your aunt. For guys, clean and functional, that's satisfactory, most guys.
Yeah.
But for women, extra clean and sparkling clean and maybe a little nice in one way or another could make a big difference and get them back to the store.
Absolutely. That, in fact, I was in one just recently. A friend, I use the word friend, but a former employee invited me out to see his new job with his tire organization and couldn't wait to show me the bathroom.
That's funny.
Wait. And it made mine look even like I thought, because I had this implemented in all my stores in time, which is stories on that. But anyhow, so the bathroom, and if you think about it, if you're trying to increase your volume in a business, what is it? What can you do to enhance the customer wanting to return, or at least not wanting to return? What is it? What can break down the barriers? And I found the one thing that I heard more than any one thing once we got on top of this in all our stores was really got a sharp bathroom. They weren't talking about pricing. They weren't talking about other things. But the number one thing they remembered, if they had to go to the bathroom, what a neat bathroom.
And if they're sitting there for a few hours waiting on tires and brakes and whatnot, they're going to go to the bathroom at some point.
Yes. And so when I started realizing how important that was, I would personally, I had this incident when I got the chain going, and I walked into one of the bathrooms one day at one of the stores, and I looked down, and there was a slight ring in the toilet bowl. So I got the manager, and I said, "You know the rule here. What's up?" And he said, "Well, I tried to clean it up, but I couldn't. It wouldn't come out." Excuse me? It wouldn't come out? I'll be right back. I went down to the store, got the cleaner that I needed that I knew, and if it didn't, there'd be no enamel left on that toilet bowl. and I got down on my hands and knees like I had done years before and cleaned that toilet bowl. And I said, "Okay, now you see this? Please don't let me see this again." And it went through the company. I mean, everyone said, "Yeah, the boss is out. Keep that toilet clean." Well, it was more than just a toilet. It was, having hand towels and stuff, and a mirror that you don't get some just mirror up there. Get a nice looking mirror, and things where they can, if they have to take a jacket off, there's a place to hang their jacket. Different things like that to make the bathroom. And the story there is I had one of the stores burned down on me, and as I put it back together, or the builder did, we were about ready to get it turned back over to us, and I went in there and I said, this is let's try the bathroom to upgrade the bathroom even more than, because it was clean, but it wasn't over the top. So I called the interior decorator back to help put our waiting room together with some extra things, and I said, I want the finest looking tire bathroom in town. So I did limit it to tire business. I didn't know anyhow. I wasn't trying to be secondary. So I wanted the cleanest bathroom nicest looking in town. So she said, okay. And we spent $1,000 or so, and she put the flooring stuff on the wall, the mirror, the toilet was a nice looking toilet and all that. And so when she got through, and I'm going, at that time, I think we had 10 stores. And I said, I want you to go back now to the other 9 stores and bring them up to this level. And I think it was one of the number one things we'd get a compliment from a woman was the bathrooms.
So having clean bathrooms probably it's a big plus in the eye of the customer, especially the female customer. And it would be interesting if you could get the data to see how many more female customers you were getting than all the other tire stores. There's no way to measure that now.
No.
And it would be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would. And I feel very strong about what it did for our company, and to realize that in any business, how do I maximize my opportunities so that the guys can do better? Or was one of the reasons they can more profits. We're sharing profits with them. And when they see that, hey, every little thing that goes on here, and don't forget the bathroom, got to be high, because that's probably one of the number one thing that the ladies look or experience, and can be either good or bad. And if we can get the majority of the women coming to our place of business, we're in a better position.
Absolutely. And also we talked about the employees coming up with a bright idea of, we don't have to have a contract cleaner come in to clean the bathrooms. We can take care of that on our spare time.
That's right.
And then, that's going to add back to the profits for the store by reducing the cost, which was about $1,000 per month per store.
Yeah, that's right. We did our own in most all cases. I have to think back. Initially, we paid someone to do that. And then I thought, even the paid people, it's hard to find someone to do it if you really know how important it is to you to do it at the level that you want it done. And we'd try to get, and of course, picking the right employee, sometimes it wasn't a bad idea either. That he took such pride in how that bathroom looked. And then the manager inspecting the bathroom throughout the day, because something could have happened, and something got spilled or something in there. But keep an eye on the bathrooms.
And the reason they cared about it again was because of that $1,000, which went into the profit sharing fund for the store.
Yes, absolutely. And if you think back, if there's more ladies coming in, that's adding business to the overall deal too. So that's a revenue side. So we have something here that could help our revenue also.
So the little things, you might consider the bathrooms to be a little thing, clean toilets to be a little thing, but they can make a big difference.
Ooh, anytime you could find anything that attracted a customer consistently. I mean, more than one or two, you hear, what's the number one thing you hear said about you? That's like people say, should I ask people for their thoughts? I think always you see that in certain places. How was your meal? How was this? Different things. And if they're doing this for the right reasons, they're trying to make sure. And to hear a problem isn't the end of the world, but it shouldn't. We don't want, let's get on top of that problem. But if we're not asking the questions, and if people are just volunteering, then you're there. Oh, what a neat place! I saw your bathroom. My goodness.
Well, Wawa picked up on that, didn't they? They're reputed to have the cleanest bathrooms. I have never been into a dirty bathroom at a Wawa.
Yeah.
You go to a Wawa, you need to go to the bathroom on the road. You're going to get a clean bathroom.
Amen. And that situation, and that's what differentiates the marginal from the great ones to me, is what are these issues? But that bit on the bathroom was so important to us.
So, Dick, if a business is not doing what they need to do to keep those toilets and those bathrooms clean, they are essentially flushing some of their profits down the toilet.
Absolutely, Danny. I mean, it is such an issue that I found that if nothing, one part of attracting and keep it up for the ladies is keep that bathroom spotless as best you can.
Well, you've been listening to Profit Sharing in the Real World with Dick Erickson, the author of the book, Profit Sharing in the Real World, which is available at Amazon.com. I'm Danny Murphy. Thank you for listening.